Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most misunderstood and, let's be honest, one of the most needed cards in the whole tarot deck, the Four of Swords. We're going to unpack the art of the strategic pause.
So you know that feeling, that mental overload, that buzz of anxiety and stress where it just feels like everything is coming at you at once? If you've been there, then you already get the core feeling behind the Four of Swords. This is the card that shows up when we are right on the verge of total burnout.
But, and this is important, this is not a card of doom and gloom. Not at all. Think of it less like a scary prediction and more like a doctor's prescription. It's a call to find your sanctuary, to consciously take a step back from all the chaos and just find some peace. So what do we actually mean by sanctuary?
At its heart, the Four of Swords is all about creating that space for yourself. And a sanctuary isn't always, a physical place. It's a mental state. It's that state of peace and quiet where you can finally rest, regroup your thoughts, and get your energy back. It's the deep breath you take before you decide what to do next.
Okay, so first up, let's talk about the upright path. When you see this card upright in a reading, it's signaling that taking a retreat is a really wise, conscious choice. This is not about giving up. It's about strategic rest.
And here is the absolute core message of this card. It's suggesting that the problems you're dealing with, they might not be as huge as they feel. The stress and the fear are basically blowing them up, making them seem impossible. The card is telling you that the real issue here is your mental state, and that if you can just find a calm mind, you'll start to see the solutions that are already there.
So, what does this look like in practice? Well, the card is pushing for some solitude and some deep, meaningful rest. It's calling for meditation, for some real introspection to figure out what's really going on inside you. This is a time for regrouping your energy, for protecting yourself, and, this one's huge, for having faith that this pause will actually lead to a better path forward. Okay, so how does this wise retreat actually show up in our day-to-day lives? Let's take a look at a few key areas where this card might pop up. First up, love and relationships. When the Four of Swords appears here, it's usually not a signal that a breakup is coming. Instead, it's pointing to all the pressure and stress around the relationship.
If you're in a couple, it could mean that you and your partner just need to step away from the daily grind for a minute to reconnect, to remember why you're even together in the first place. It's about finding that peace together. And if you're single, this card is such a powerful nudge to use this time for yourself. Don't just jump into something new because you're afraid of being alone. Take the time to really think about what you want. The right person has a funny way of showing up when you stop looking so desperately.
And the same idea applies when we look at our work life and our money situation. The pressure here can be absolutely immense, and this card is like, yeah, I see that, I get it.
In your career, this is a blaring signal that you're feeling the heat and you need to rest if you want to get back on track. It is perfectly okay to admit you can't cope right now, and financially, it's a sign that all that pressure is clouding your judgment. But the card is reassuring you. It's probably not as bad as you think, and there's always a solution. You just need to relax enough to be able to see it.
Now, in a health reading, the message is crystal clear. This card can point to a literal, physical need for recuperation, sometimes even hospitalization. It often highlights how anxiety-related issues get so much worse with stress, which makes rest absolutely non-negotiable for any kind of recovery.
But what happens if we ignore that call to rest? Well, that's where we meet the card's reversed meaning. And this isn't just the opposite of the upright card. It's more like the consequence. It's a tense awakening, one way or another.
And this right here sums up the difference perfectly. The upright card is about choosing to rest. The reversed card is what happens when you don't. You're either forced into recovery because you've pushed yourself way too far, or you are heading straight for a complete and total burnout.
So this duality, this fork in the road between recovery and burnout, it plays out across all the different areas of our lives. So let's break down what that looks like. In relationships, the reversed Four of Swords presents a critical choice. You're at a crossroads. Is all this stress leading to some kind of healing? Or is it pushing the relationship to its absolute breaking point? See, on one path, there's healing. Maybe the relationship is slowly getting back on its feet after a tough time. Or if you're single, you're finally healing and moving on from a bad situation. But that second path, that's a serious warning. It can mean the stress has just reached a breaking point. Or maybe you've become so anxious that you're starting to lose faith that you'll ever find love at all. A really similar question comes up in our professional lives. Are you finally coming back stronger after a much-needed break? Or have things gotten so bad that you just need to walk away for good? On that recovery path, you might be returning to work with new ways to cope, and maybe your finances are slowly starting to improve. But on the burnout path, your stress has hit a boiling point. You feel totally overwhelmed, and, this is key, you might be refusing help that's available to you. The card is basically asking you to be honest with yourself. Which path are you really on?
So, when we pull all of this together, what's the ultimate lesson of the Four of Swords? It's that rest isn't laziness, and it definitely isn't weakness. Rest is a vital part of any successful strategy.
Ultimately, the Four of Swords teaches us that perspective is everything. Taking that step back, finding our sanctuary, it allows us to see our challenges for what they truly are, manageable obstacles, not these insurmountable mountains our tired minds make them out to be.
And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. In a world that is constantly screaming at us to go, 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 the Four of Swords asks us to just stop. It invites us to ask ourselves, what new solutions, what hidden strengths, what deep clarity could you find if you just gave yourself permission to pause?